Okay, so you're juggling everything, work, life, maybe family, and somewhere in there, you're trying to learn English. Does it feel like time's just never on your side?
Yeah, that's a really common feeling. You're definitely not alone there. So many people feel overwhelmed, like, where do I even begin with language learning when my schedule's already packed?
Absolutely. You want to connect, you want those opportunities English brings, but fitting it in feels almost, well, impossible sometimes.
It really can seem like a huge mountain to climb.
Well, what if we told you that making real progress, getting closer to fluency, might be more doable than you think?
Interesting.
Today, we're diving deep into this idea. Can just 15 minutes a day, focused practice, actually make a difference in your English?
And we're drawing insights from a great source for this, an episode of the Language Lounge podcast. It was called English for Busy People, 15 Minutes a Day to Fluency, featuring their host Alex and a language coach named Jamie.
Right. So our mission today is really to dig into what Jamie says. Can 15 minutes truly, move the needle towards fluency?
And if it can, how? What are the strategies? How do you make those, let's face it, very few minutes count?
Okay, let's just tackle the big question head on.
Huh.
15 minutes a day, is it enough? Jamie's answer is, well, yes.
But, and this is the crucial part, it's not just any 15 minutes.
Exactly. She really hammers home that the quality of your focus during that time is way more important than the clock just ticking.
It's like focused effort versus just passively being there. Huge difference.
And to make that focus practical, she suggests this framework she calls 3-minute modules. I think this is quite clever.
It is. The idea is you break down your 15 minutes into 5 distinct activities, just 3 minutes each. Keeps things fresh.
Okay, so what's the first module?
Listening. Just 3 minutes of focused listening.
Like what kind of listening?
Could be a short clip from a podcast for learners, maybe a quick news segment in English, or even, a short YouTube video. The key is really tuning in.
Got it. Module 2.
Speaking. Another 3 minutes. Now, this one can feel a bit intimidating for some people, right?
Definitely. The idea of speaking out loud can be daunting.
But Jamie's tips are really accessible. She suggests just repeating some phrases you heard in the listening part.
Okay, mimicking.
Yeah. Or, and I love this one, just describe what you're doing out loud in English. Like, okay, now I'm making coffee. Even if you're just talking to yourself.
Right. Just getting the mouth moving, forming the sounds.
Exactly. Getting comfortable with it.
Okay, module 3.
Reading. 3 focused minutes with written English.
Again, short and sweet, I assume, not tackling a novel.
Definitely not. Think short online articles, maybe just a paragraph from a book you're interested in, even scrolling social media, but, engaging with posts in English.
So it's about exposure to structure and vocabulary in a manageable dose.
Precisely. Then comes module 4, writing. Again, just 3 minutes.
And not writing essays, I guess.
No. Think small. Jotting down a few thoughts in English, maybe a super brief journal entry.
Or like a quick message to a language partner.
Perfect example. It's about actively producing the language, even in small bursts.
Okay, and the final 3 minutes. The 5th module.
Vocabulary review, which we all know is pretty fundamental.
Absolutely. How does she suggest tackling that in just 3 minutes?
Using things like flashcards, maybe digital ones on apps like Anki or Quizlet that use spaced repetition.
Ah, the algorithms that help you remember.
Right, or even just simple sticky notes with new words placed where you'll see them often. It's about active recall.
What I like about this whole 3-minute module thing is how it breaks things up. You're hitting different skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing, vocab very quickly.
Yeah, it keeps your brain engaged, right? You switch tasks before you get bored or overwhelmed. It actually aligns well with ideas about cognitive load, less fatigue, maybe better retention.
Makes sense. Now, Jamie also talks about something else, a big mental block.
Yes, perfectionism.
That fear of making mistakes, it can be paralyzing, can't it?
Totally. People get so worried about sounding silly or getting things wrong that they just don't practice.
Yeah.
Especially speaking.
It's like wanting to play a perfect sonata before you've even learned the scales on the piano.
Exactly. And Jamie's message here is so important, really encouraging. She basically says, look, fluency is messy at first, and that's okay.
I love that. Fluency is messy. Takes the pressure right off.
And it really does. It gives you permission to just try, to experiment, and yeah, to make those mistakes because that's how you learn.
Okay, so you embrace the messiness, but what about motivation? What happens when you're doing your 15 minutes, but progress feels, well, slow?
That's a really key point, keeping the momentum going. Jamie's advice is brilliant here. Track your micro wins.
Micro wins. Okay, what does that look like in practice? Give us some examples.
A micro win could be understanding a joke in an English TV show for the first time,
Ah, okay.
or maybe finally nailing the pronunciation of a tricky word you've been practicing, or using a new phrase correctly in a message, even just understanding a bit more of a podcast than you did last week.
So tiny little victories that show you are moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like a giant leap.
Exactly, and you have to consciously notice them, acknowledge them. That gives you a real boost.
And beyond noticing those specific language gains, she also talks about celebrating something simpler.
Yeah, celebrating consistency, just the act of showing up.
Right. So even if you felt your practice wasn't great that day, the win is that you did it. You stuck to the 15 minutes.
Precisely, because that consistency, that habit, that's what really builds up over time. It's more important than having a perfect session every single day.
Okay, this is all great conceptually,
Yeah.
but Jamie also gives practical tools, right? Specific resources for these modules.
She does. She offers a kind of toolkit for listening, for instance.
What does she recommend there?
Things like BBC Learning English or their podcast, The English We Speak. Great resources designed for learners.
Uh-huh.
And also using things you might already have, like Netflix. But watching actively, maybe using English subtitles to connect the sound and the text.
Good tip. What about for the speaking module?
She mentions pronunciation apps like Il Speak, which give feedback.
Oh, right. Technology helping out.
Yeah. And also the shadowing technique. Listening to someone on YouTube and trying to mimic their speech rhythm and intonation.
Simple but effective.
And even just recording your own voice on your phone, hearing yourself speak English can be really insightful, even if it feels a bit weird at first.
Okay, reading resources.
Things like The Skim for short news summaries, or News in Levels, which adapts news for different English abilities.
Oh, that's useful. Tailored content.
Yeah, and also graded readers' books written specifically for language learners.
Right. And for writing.
She suggests journaling apps to build the habit, using something simple like Google Docs, or even tools like Grammarly. Not to rely on it totally, but to help you spot and learn from mistakes.
Makes sense. And finally, for vocab review, we mentioned Anki and Memrise.
Yep, those spaced repetition apps are great. Also, many dictionary apps have a word of the day feature. It's a quick, easy way to pick up something new.
So lots of options to build your personal 15-minute toolkit.
Definitely. It's about finding what works for you.
Now, let's tackle that big barrier we all face. I just don't have time. Such a common feeling, isn't it?
It really is. But Jamie's take on this is quite direct.
How so?
She basically points out that most of us do have little pockets of time we might spend scrolling social media somewhat mindlessly or channel surfing.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. Her point is, if you have time for that, you probably can find 15 dedicated minutes for English. It's about priorities.
And she also suggests weaving it into your existing routine, right?
Yeah.
Not adding it as a separate chore.
Exactly. That's the key. Integration.
Can you give some examples of what that might look like?
Sure. Like listen to an English podcast while you're cooking dinner or commuting.
Okay, using dead time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or practice speaking by narrating what you see while you're stuck in traffic. Or maybe write your shopping list or your daily to-do list in English.
Simple swaps, making English part of what you're already doing.
Yes, it reframes it. It's not another thing to add, it's just doing something you already do, but in English. Much less friction.
It makes it feel less like a burden and more like, well, just part of life.
Mm-hmm. And Jamie uses a fantastic analogy to really drive home the power of this small, consistent effort. She compares it to brushing your teeth.
I like that. Explain that one.
Well, think about it. Brushing your teeth takes what, 2-3 minutes twice a day? It doesn't feel like a massive time sink.
No, not at all.
But doing it consistently, day after day, year after year, has a huge impact on your dental health, right?
Absolutely. Prevents major problems down the line.
Exactly. And it's the same idea with language learning, that seemingly small 15 minutes of focused practice each day, it compounds over weeks, months, years. It adds up to really significant progress. It's the power of the habit.
That's a really sticky analogy. Makes perfect sense.
It does, doesn't it?
So as we wrap up, Jamie has some final words of encouragement for listeners, right? For anyone thinking, okay, maybe I can try this.
Yes, her final message is really simple but powerful, basically. Just start. Start today. Don't get bogged down trying to create the absolute perfect plan.
Just pick one thing.
Pick one 3-minute module that sounds appealing and just do it. Today. She emphasizes that fluency is a journey, it takes time, and every single little step counts.
Commitment, curiosity, consistency. Those are her key ingredients.
Those are the ones. Keep showing up, stay curious, and be consistent.
Okay, so let's summarize the key takeaway from this deep dive into Jamie's approach. That core message is, yes, 15 minutes a day can lead to real progress in English fluency. It's achievable.
Absolutely. But it requires that focused practice, using strategies like the 3-minute modules, and leveraging the kinds of resources she talked about.
And maybe the biggest piece is the mindset shift, isn't it?
I think so. Getting over that perfectionism hurdle, learning to spot and appreciate those micro wins, and really valuing consistency above all else.
That seems crucial for making this sustainable.
It really does. So here's a final thought for you as you finish listening. What's one tiny 3-minute English activity you could realistically slot into your day, maybe even right after this?
Good challenge.
Think about what that first micro win might feel like. How will you know when you've achieved it? Something to maybe mull over.
Definitely something to think about.
Mhm.
Okay, great insights today.
Yeah.
Until our next deep dive, keep exploring.